The future of cool, comfortable sleep is here. Introducing the new Sleep Number Climate Cool Smart Bed. The only smart bed in the world that actively cools and effortlessly adjusts to both of you. Sleep up to 15 degrees cooler on each side. It actively cools to keep you cool and comfortable throughout the night. Save on smart beds now during our fall sale, exclusively at a Sleep Number store near you. Learn more at sleepnumber.com.
Everything you learned in history class was a lie. Well, maybe not everything, but they skipped the best parts. Introducing Stupiracy, where stupidity meets conspiracy. Ever heard of the Olympic marathon that nearly killed its runners? Or the time a pope put another pope's corpse on trial? Join me, Scott Rizzuto, and Tim McKernan as we uncover the most outrageous historical moments and mind-blowing conspiracies you won't believe actually happened. Tune in to Stupiracy for your weekly dose of historical absurdity. Available wherever you get your podcasts. Remember, history is dumb, but laughing at it is smart.
And now, live from the TCL broadcast studios, it's Joe Souchere and Patrick Royce with Sports Talk.
Where'd our guest Ron go?
We had a, Ron?
Yeah. Pat, we had a guest today from a charity.
Okay. Ron decided to bail, though. Huh?
Well, I invited him. I said, Ron, would you like to stay for Sports Talk and, see how the sausage is made? And he looked back at me right away and said, no, I'd rather beat traffic over here. So, a man after Joel's...
a good Minnesotan right there, man. You got to beat the traffic.
I can't blame him.
A once-in-a-lifetime chance to sit and see how it's made.
Imagine how many people beat the traffic on Sunday at the Ziggy. Imagine the people. Imagine the people with 5 minutes. Come on, we got to beat the traffic.
All of whom will deny leaving early.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
One of my favorite sports moments ever was... I was in Atlanta when the Braves were playing Pittsburgh, and the National League playoffs, I think it was the year after they'd played the Twins in the World Series. I think so. But the Braves were getting beat, and they rallied in the bottom of the ninth and won the game famously. And Sid Bream came limping home from second base in a cloud of dust. He's safe. They won the game in the bottom of the ninth. Next morning, I'm driving to the airport, and they got this. I'm listening to this station that's kind of their version of KQ. A lot of conversation, and these people are all calling up saying, "Damn it! I missed it, but I got home. I beat the traffic."
Yeah.
They were making fun of them. They were making fun of themselves. But I don't think Minnesotans, they'd be too sheepish. They wouldn't admit they left before Kirby hit the home run or Diggs caught the pass. They wouldn't admit it. Even if that. Now you wouldn't have stuck around as a fan, would you, Joe?
Hell no.
He would have heard the roar as he's closing his car door.
Man, I wonder what happened.
If I was writing, I stayed.
Oh, sure.
Other than that, no.
Yeah, no. But that's great. So Ron had to beat the traffic. Huh? Okay.
He looked. You know what? Unfortunately, guys, he didn't even think about it. He didn't
give you the courtesy pause.
Right. He had his mind made up and said, "You know what? I'll tell you what."
He lives in Eden Prairie. I don't blame the guy wanting to pitch.
Right. I knew. Right.
I don't know why he stayed for the first 2 hours.
Yeah, come and get his photo taken, get a T-shirt, and get the hell out of here.
I'm gonna go home.
Yeah, what?
I did. I did. I said, I hope you were impressed. And he said, yeah, you're busy. You do a lot of stuff. I said, yeah, well, Reavers is over there, too. And he said...
He doesn't do much.
He said, I was trying... Honest to God, he said, I was trying to figure out what he does.
Yeah. So are we.
Joe's babysitter.
Yeah.
Just can't do it without you, Reeves.
Just in case we got to look something up.
One of the things that I was monitoring, we've all seen the reactionary videos from Viking fans all over the place.
Yeah.
And John Height and I just watched a long video of a New Orleans sports bar where the people were celebrating up until that final play of the game. That was, there's nothing better than watching fans just get their hearts ripped out of their chest at the end of a game, is there?
No, it's great. Hey, Did you see the video of the guy throwing his 65-inch TV
Oh,
off?
my God.
Ah, no.
You know, I've always said that's like, I shouldn't bring this up because it's not a comparison, but the people that get so depressed over the loss of a girlfriend or something, and they off themselves, because they're going to show them.
Yeah.
But then what?
Yeah, that's
you
true.
know. But then what? It's like throwing that TV. Okay, now that you did that,
That's pretty final.
you got a lot of hits on the internet, but you don't have your TV anymore, buddy.
Now you got to get a GoFundMe page. I was the dummy that threw the TV
You
out.
better not have been a TCL Roku 4K television.
That thing would have
no.
jumped right back up onto the balcony.
I need one of those down here, man. The TV in my whatever room it is, there's only like 2 of them. It's terrible. I don't know what I bought.
Did it come with the estate?
No, I bought it, but I made a bad decision. I got to get a TCL.
You need a smart TV.
Steve has a question for you, Patrick. Go ahead,
Yes.
Steve.
Patrick, are you going to be watching the game Sunday with the Weeping Blondes?
No, the Smiling Blondes, you mean? I watched it with the Smiling Blondes down here. The Weeping Blondes, I don't know where they. I did a reunion piece on that in 2009. After the 2008 season, but I don't know where the young ladies went. No, but
they were probably happy on Sunday.
yes, they were, and of course I watched with the Smiling Blondes down here, and the one gal, my buddy Mackenzie, sent me a photo of her today on Twitter, being flat on the ground she almost died from ecstasy. I mean, happiness. Laying in front of the TV out at that tiki bar. And then she went and got herself a skull tattoo at one of the many Fort Myers Beach tattoo parlors. Yes. So,
Wow.
yes,
That's pretty final.
that's an overreaction right there.
Well, we're in day 2, and I sense that nothing has calmed down.
Oh, no, it's amazing. It's amazing. I supported Sean Payton today. People got very upset with
Yes,
me
you
because,
did.
well, he's an agitator, right?
No, I knew you would side with him. I knew you would.
Agitation doesn't always work. Sometimes it backfires, but you got to stick with it.
Yeah, you're an
Right?
agitator.
You got to stick with it.
Gotta stick with
I
it.
had T-shirts. You got to stick. We got to send Sean a T-shirt.
An
don't you?
agitator
Do we have any
shirt?
left around?
I
The
think so.
Agitate T-shirt from 2 years ago.
I think so.
Yeah,
Heck,
that's
he can
right.
have mine. That was great.
That's right. that would be now.
You gotta
How
stick with it.
have we gotten a report on Reaver's post-game behavior? Where were you watching it? At
I
home
was at
calmly?
home. I was at home with the fam, and
Okay,
it
and
was
then you had to
nearing,
leave.
It was nearing bath time, towards the conclusion of the game, and I said, "Well, they're gonna lose, but we gotta watch the end of the game
Yes,
because we
right.
almost went up and I almost missed the play." But I
Okay.
convinced her since it was a Sunday night that we could stay up and
Well, plus they didn't have school the next day.
and I had to stay home yesterday with the boys, so it was almost like it was a Saturday night.
So
at our house.
you weren't out drinking at some local establishment to make a fool of yourself.
No, I was
after
making a
this.
fool of myself in my living room.
Let me ask you one question. Were you able to converse or speak with your wife? Because
No, he
some
went like
members of the
this.
staff were not able to.
Give her the-
But to your favor, in your
Right,
favor,
right.
that's good.
Yeah, I was feeling no pain, but I was doing it in the comfort of my own home.
Who was not allowed to speak to their spouse?
That would be the Rook.
No, we're referencing the Thursday Thanksgiving from a year ago.
when
where
you
I
got a
couldn't
little,
make the sounds, but Reavers was still in a state of mind to be able to say yes and no.
Here,
so.
we got to take Neil. Neil, go ahead, please.
Yeah, how's it going, guys?
Good.
I think you think the guy that threw his TV off the balcony, alcohol, might have something to do with that.
I think so.
And then
chance.
I just gonna ask you guys if you think this was so totally unexpected, that touchdown. Do you think that kind of somewhat of redemption for that Drew Pearson push off? I mean, kind of an opposite comparison.
Yeah, it is. for
That's
sure.
43 years ago.
Yes, it is.
I'm not sure there's.
But we did it without a push off.
Yeah. But for us that remember it, it was. I remember that better than almost anything. I just remember just falling down as a kid, going, "Ah!"
I wonder if anybody would have gotten hit in the head with a
Whiskey bottle?
a pint of Corby's whiskey if it had been in New Orleans. So that we might have seen some objects thrown onto the field.
And the official's name was Armin Terzian.
Yes, he was. And that is when the Sid Hartman rule came into effect for the National Football League. We used to, before that game, get to go in and talk to, you could knock on the door and then go in and talk to an official and ask him about a call, right? And in this case, Armin Terzian, who looked like one of those Revolutionary War guys, he had his whole head bandaged, bandaged, cloth.
All he did was a fife and drum corps.
And the blood was coming through the
Band-Aid
tape that was around his head, and Sid burst into the officials' room without invitation to tell Armin Terzian what a bleeper he was as he was bleeding. And the next year we had pool reporters. The next year you could not en masse go into the referee's room and ask him questions. You had to send each team as press corps was assigned a pool reporter, and they could go down and request it. So the Sid Hartman rule came into effect when the whiskey bottle was thrown. Yes,
I listened to that game on the radio.
Really?
I was in L.A., so I'm wondering, why was I in L.A.? Was it close to the Rose Bowl? Was it? I bet it was.
Yeah, it probably was. Yeah, it probably was.
It might have been the year I went to talk to Mock and he made me stand outside.
Yeah, that could have been. That could have been, except I think it was, 76. So Mock would have been, he would have been managed for 1 year.
You punch in Drew Pearson on Google?
75. So Mock had just been named as manager. So he probably didn't know you well.
Out there. He said, "You're staying outside."
If you just punch in Drew Pearson on Google.
That was even before he didn't know. He had not yet found out you didn't know who Gabby Hartnett was yet either. He didn't know what a baseball maven he was talking to when he said, "Stay out there, stay out there." Oh man.
Well, he later explained there's just certain times of the year when you don't want to be around other people because they got the flu.
Yeah.
And boy, did I have it. Oof.
Apparently down here in Florida, it's all over the place. I'm fine, but there's a lot of it going around down here.
Yes, Rook.
I was just going to say, when you punch in Drew Pearson on Google, the first thing that comes up is Drew Pearson push off.
Really?
Yep. Above all stats and everything else.
Just a moment. We'll return. Timberwolves at Orlando tonight.
Yes.
Fighting for recognition.
See if they can. They now are tied with the Spurs for the in the West, and they have tied for the fifth best record in the NBA. Been a while since they've had that lofty. Orlando's not very good, and even the Houston team that they're playing on back into this quick little road trip Thursday is not what it was, not playing like it did. We're going to start the top of the next hour with some fun from that Clippers-Rockets game last night.
What was the deal with that?
They had all these battles out there and cheap shots and threats, and the Chris Paul, who played with the Clippers for a bunch of years, left the Clippers, signed with the Rockets. There was a lot of bitterness by Blake Griffin, who was their other big star, and other guys. So they got in this big row going on. So Chris Paul knows the back route to the other team's locker room from having been there, right?
Yeah, they snuck in.
They send this big 6'10" guy, Capella, a center down there, to pound on the door, the front door, like he wants in. And then they sneak in the back door, like four of them, but they finally get stopped by security. But it's they're going to go at it in the locker room, and we're going to play the audio of Barkley and Shaq talking about it last night on TNT. It is fantastic, man. It's funny.
Well, basketball fights aren't funny. Remember?
No, because there's no
protective equipment.
There's no helmets. There's nothing to convince you not to take your best shot, right?
Who was the guy I'm thinking of who took the punch in the face? Kermit?
Well, Rudy Tomjanovich got Kermit Washington
yeah.
punched him and broke his face, and basically it turned him from a superstar to a mediocre player.
Right.
And then there was the one in Auburn where the riot at the, what do they call it, Malice at the Palace, where they went in the where they went in the stands, and Ron Artest went in the stands, and then there was eight people in the stands fighting with the fans.
Did you mention the one at the barn? Didn't we have a?
Well, yeah. Oh, that was right. Yeah, that was 70 Mussey's first year.
Ohio
72.
State, right?
January 72. Yeah, I was there for that one. NHL All-Star Game in Minneapolis, in Met Center the same night.
Was that right?
Yeah, the Gophers in Ohio State playing for first place in the Big Ten, and Met Center had the All-Star Game that night.
Was that the night Masterton died then?
No, Masterton died.
I thought he died in an All-Star game.
No, he died.
Just a regular game?
Regular season game the first year they were here.
Okay.
In fact, yesterday was the 50th anniversary of when he died. The event took place on the 13th of January, and he died 2 days later at Fairview. Or officially was ruled to have died on January 15th, 1968, 50 years ago. 50 years ago. You know that we were talking about him yesterday. He was a great player at Denver University when they were the powerhouse. They won back-to-back national titles. He was the star of that team, 60-61. But he was a Montreal Canadian property, right?
Yeah.
And they had a 6-team league.
Right.
And he'd go down to the AHL or some other league and get a bunch of goals, and he had no chance to ever see the NHL because they were, he was as good as he was. They weren't going to call him up because they had their team. And he finally quit and came to Minneapolis and was working in the Twin Cities, just a job. He just had a job in the Twin Cities. And then when the expansion came, they were scrounging for players, and Ren Blair signed him, and he ended up making the club and was a good player for them. He scored the first goal in North Star history.
I didn't know that.
October 11th, 1967. Yeah, I only know that because I looked it up yesterday. I remembered that he scored the first goal after reading it, but I didn't remember it.
Why do you think 50 years ago people went to North Stars games dressed up?
I don't know.
Men wore suits.
Well, look at the 65 World Series.
That's true.
Everybody's got a suit and tie on, sitting behind in the lower. Yeah, they did, and they wore hats.
So there was
what happened to hats?
There was no face paint.
No face
like
paint.
you'd see at a Viking playoff game.
No. Now the Viking games had a tendency. You had your snowmobile suits on,
right.
So it got a little more informal.
You're like little Ralphie on a Christmas, or Randy on a Christmas story.
Yes. Yeah, and
trying to reach for the bottle of snowshoe grog.
Yeah, even then, alcohol was part of the operation with the Vikings, but not like it is today.
But aided and abetted by the fact that you had those big suits on. You could squirrel it away.
Yeah, smuggle it in, yes. Yeah, there's no doubt. And, tailgating it pretty much started no matter what the Packer fans and other people want to tell you, it pretty much started at the Met Stadium parking lot.
Where they had plenty of room to do it.
Mid-'60s, sure they did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then it carried over to the Kicks, which was essentially just an excuse to have a tailgate party.
Yep, boy, that was a
tailgate party where there was an occasional soccer game.
Occasionally somebody would go in. Mm-hmm. You'd have 5,000 people at the game and 45,000 in the parking lot.
I have never wanted to be 10 years younger any time in my life than when I saw those what the hijinks that was going on there. It was unbelievable.
Sports Talk will return shortly, but here's John Height in the Sports Talk newsroom.
Thank you, Joe. It's sunny and 7 degrees. If I may address something, before we get to our normal work here, we earlier had the story about the Pope speaking in Chile.
Pat, the Pope's in Chile. All right, we have to flesh out something.
He spoke at O'Higgins Park there, Patrick, and we were
where'd
concerned.
They get the Irish guy?
Exactly. But now some information has been sent to us by looks like a fellow named Ted
in Mankato.
In Mankato, apparently Bernardo O'Higgins Riquelme. The Spanish rule in the Chilean War of Independence. He was a wealthy landowner, second supreme dictator of Chile. He's considered one of Chile's head, a fully independent Chile state. In other words, Bernardo O'Higgins was kind of like the George Washington, it appears, of Chile. He was Spanish and Irish.
Learn more here by accident than elsewhere by design.
O'Higgins Park.
So was he a native, or did he come over by steamship and then buy a bunch of land
Well,
for
let's
2
not
cents?
confuse it. Let's just stick with what
We'll
we
just
got.
say he's from Spanish and Irish descent. That's all we can
Okay.
say.
I think I've got a little audio from the Pope who was with the indigenous people down there from gosh, it was a while ago. Just it's a little grainy, so you need to give it a good listen here. Okay.
Nah, mate. We just hold them.
Wait.
What did he say?
He wants to know if we're allowed to eat these men.
Now, indigenous people in Chile, they don't speak with Australian accents.
Oh, dang it. You outed me. That was from Crocodile Dundee. Now, mate.
What is wrong with you?
He wants to know if we're allowed to eat these people.
Have you ever asked yourself what's wrong with you?
I mean, the
You know what I always ask
Michael J.
myself?
Crocodile Dundee.
You know what I always ask myself about Chile?
What?
What's that?
Who thought it was a good idea to have a country that was 50 miles wide and 12,000 miles long?
Yeah.
I mean, that's stupid.
It's shaped
Right.
funny.
You know, it's
Hey, buddy, who aligned this property?
Got a funny shape.
I got the whole King. I secured the whole coast for you. I got the whole coast.
That's true. That's good real estate.
Unfortunately, I didn't get too far inland.
Our charge.
King, I've got
So
good
if I
news
want to
and
go,
bad news.
if I want to go get a loaf of bread, I got to drive 75 miles south.
Yeah. We got off the ship and we took a quick right. We kept going.
Ship, I got you. King, I got you a hell of a lot of water. But the bad part is we don't go too far in.
You know what I always ask myself about chili?
What?
Why
Don't
beans
do it.
and why sometimes not beans?
Yeah. Okay.
Timberwolves hit the road tonight after that long, successful homestand there in Orlando to play the Magic.
Joe, I have a question to ask you. The Pope is in Chile. We
right.
discovered. How long would it take for you to finally get to Crocodile Dundee?
Yeah.
That wouldn't happen. My brain doesn't work that way.
I don't think anybody's does except Rook.
That's why.
You know what Tom Kelly would have said about Rook's last attempt at humor, why don't you?
Know your limitations.
Know your limitations.
Know your limitations.
No, your limitations.
Know your limitations. Rick. And he said it. He was such a nice guy that night as I was emceeing. He wasn't being mean. He was just saying, Rook, know your limitations.
You know what he was doing? He was managing.
He was managing.
I'll never forget the great line. I can't remember which of the North Stars it was, but they were on the island in the playoffs, and it was the year the Pope got shot in Rome, remember?
Yeah.
And the players looked up at the TV and said, Jesus, they got him in his own room. Meaning he was at home.
Right.
Sure.
He was on home ice.
Yeah, got him in his own room.
Got him in his own room.
A Pennsylvania man arrested for punching a police horse and its rider at Lincoln Financial Field over the weekend during the Eagles game. 22-year-old Taylor Hendricks is from Whitehall, Pennsylvania. He was ejected from the game between the Eagles and the Falcons because he was intoxicated and didn't have a ticket, according to Philadelphia police. Following his ejection, police said he approached a mounted officer and began punching the horse in the face, neck, and shoulder area. Police spokesman Troy Brown said the officer on the horse was then hit in the legs by the male. Another officer came over and grabbed the male, who was then placed in custody. Luckily, neither the horse nor officer were seriously injured in that accident. He's facing several charges: aggravated assault, taunting a police animal, simple assault, and defiant trespassing. The Eagles beat the Falcons, of course, will host the Vikings this Sunday.
Well, get ready, because Viking fans, if you're going to go out there, because these people are nuts, the Eagles fans. And with that kickoff time, whoop, look out.
A lot of pregame.
Yeah.
Mango only pond.
I knew we were going to get it. Yeah, but you never got him punching the horse. You didn't get there. I guess there's no sound on that one.
Just a big...
Mongo did get him square. You know, he got that horse square.
He did. News notes from today. The Lisle Public School District canceled class for tomorrow after a semi-trailer crashed into a school this morning and it injured 4 people, including 2 students. The The superintendent there said counseling will be provided to students once classes resume. According to a message sent to parents of students, the school will be closed tomorrow because there's significant damage to 2 classrooms and the ongoing cleanup.
What would the counseling be? Kids, sometimes a truck hits the school. What would the counseling be?
No word on
Don't be afraid of trucks, I guess.
No word on whether school would resume on Thursday. Superintendent Brian Boyson wrote that counseling services will... Oh, I already read that, pardon me. Rochester TV station KAAL reported 2 students who were inside the school at the time of the accident were injured, along with the driver and a child passenger in a vehicle that was also hit by the semi. TV station reported the semi crashed into an art classroom while class was in session. At the time, officials were worried the roof would collapse when the semi was removed. No one was allowed inside the school this morning. It appeared the entire cab of the truck was inside the building.
I cannot hear Mongo without thinking of course, the guy who played him, Alex Karras, and the line to George Plimpton, where he points out that one of his Detroit Lions teammates has had a testicle removed.
Yes.
And then he screams across, "Hey, Pete, are you working your ball off?"
What's that called? Paper lion?
Paper lion, yeah.
Driver of a vehicle that was torn in half when it hit a tree just after midnight last night is okay. The crash happened on the 100 block of County Road B, right along the border of Little Canada and Maplewood. Investigators say alcohol was not a factor in the crash. Authorities are investigating the exact cause.
I have an email here from Lee. I can't attest. I never attended a Kicks game in person, boys. Lee says the Kicks games were the only sporting event that you got kicked out of the parking lot into the game by the authorities.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they did. About halfway through I think it was the first season, they started driving people. They had horses out there. The cops out there had horses. They were driving people inside to the games.
Get in the game where you belong.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, it was unbelievable.
And a haze of dope smoke was so thick. Planes were delayed.
Trying to get through it.
A White House doctor pronouncing President Trump medically fit this afternoon to serve as commander-in-chief and added he easily passed a voluntary cognitive assessment designed to test his mental reflexes.
Wow.
Dr. Ronnie Jackson told reporters during an unusual briefing at the White House the president's overall health is excellent. Jackson did say the 71-year-old, 239-pound president could use more exercise and a better diet that's lower in fat and carbohydrates. Trump, who's known to eat lots of junk food and to avoid exercise beyond golf, is overweight. Jackson said they set a reasonable goal of losing 10 to 15 pounds in the coming year and developing a regular fitness routine.
Sure, they did.
Jackson said the president's far more enthusiastic about the diet part than the exercise part. Trump has gained 3 pounds since his physical in 2016. He does take a drug to reduce cholesterol, but does not use tobacco or alcohol. One of the reasons the doctor said he's in general good health.
And there's another reason: 12 Diet Cokes a day. He's a 12 Diet Coke guy.
Is he seriously? Or
Yes.
You making that up?
No,
I did not know that about him.
He's a Diet Coke addict, yeah.
Does he drink it with 2 hands on the can? Does he lift it to his mouth?
Right. Every day.
Is it can or plastic bottle, Pat? Because I think that might factor in. Because you're a plastic bottle guy, not a can.
Mostly, yeah. But I'll drink it out of a can if necessary. I'm not prejudiced.
And a U.S. official says the Trump administration will cut tens of millions of dollars in funding for the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees, slashing this year's first contribution by more than half. The official says the U.S. is making additional donations contingent on major changes to the organization. The official said the UN Relief and Works Agency was notified the U.S. is withholding $65 million of the planned $125 million installment.
All right, Johnny, thank you.
You bet. Police in the eastern German city of Dresden say 2 men suffered minor injuries after backing into one another in 2 consecutive accidents. Police said Tuesday the 49-year-old man pulled into a disabled parking place Monday afternoon, but noticed his mistake and then put it in reverse.
Whoops.
As he backed out, he accidentally hit a 72-year-old man who was walking behind him, injuring the man slightly. The 2 exchanged information for a report. At that point, the older man got into his car, backed out of his own parking spot, hitting the younger man in the process and slightly injuring him.
Whoops.
Police say it was at that point they were called to the scene of the 2 accidents in the Saxony capital. Both men will be just fine.
Do you know how long, Johnny Height? You're familiar with Costco, right?
Sure, very.
Do you know how long a 75-year-old woman will wait for a car to back out of a parking spot in the Costco parking lot in Fort Myers, Florida?
A long time.
A longer
than
time.
I'm suspecting longer than needed, in your opinion.
Yes. I almost tried to risk my life and run down 3 people to get around this woman who would have been there for 12 minutes. She wasn't even sure the person was leaving, but she was there.
The amazing thing about Costco parking lots to me, people will walk in front of your car even if you are moving. Right. They don't even look. They just walk as if they're impervious to injury from a car hitting them. Drives me crazy.
They didn't spend a lot of time trying to make their parking lot safe, that's for sure. No.
High school student R.J. Duarte started mowing lawns at the age of 8.
Yes.
He's right now a high school student. He has a business that generates over 6 figures a year.
Ooh. Good for him.
Duarte was on Fox Business's television show, and he said, as I kept it going into more and more, and then, like 2012, I brought on a business partner, Owen Johnson. Both Duarte and Johnson admit they didn't have a business plan, no capital, and no bank loans, but through word of mouth and good reputation, they soon found themselves busier than ever. The business reached a milestone in the past year of $100,000 in gross revenue. He said, we worked all summer and all year to make that. The company now employs 1 full-time employee as well as part-time teams of other high schoolers to help with day-to-day tasks. The business partner's accolades keep rolling in as well. In 2015, he said they won the Young Americans Bank Business Award, and he says it just keeps kind of going up and up from there.
Lawn service, John?
That's correct, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Look, that's what I was expecting to happen when I gave you one of my many extra lawnmowers to give to one of the. That was Matthew Jr., right?
Matthew Jr. Wanted to start a lawn care business with one of his buddies, and very innocently in grade school, they were going to full service,
Yeah.
but they wanted to call it blow and go. It was blow and mow.
Was that rejected?
Blow and mow.
Once they had the pamphlet up, because they had the leaf blowers and the lawnmowers, we said, let's not go with.
Let's put this on Craigslist.
It was mow and blow. Mow and blow. And he said, no, let's find a
Which
different
one
name.
of you guys is you're mow and that guy's blow?
So Matthew's at the junior at the University of St. Thomas, and the other kid's a junior at the Madison.
Okay.
And they've decided not to proceed with that.
Okay, so
I have
I
my
can't.
own lawn
I'm not.
service.
I'm not getting a check then.
No,
Is
you're
that
not
what
getting a
saying?
check. And
Okay.
Gabe's not really a worker bee.
No.
He can fix stuff, but he doesn't want to get out there and work.
All right.
So thanks for the mower, pal.
Now, did they go as far as to get like the car mechanic shirts with the name tag? One that said Mo, the other that said.
No, the kibosh was put before any investment in attire.
Hi, I'm Mo. Me blow.
Well, we're all done mowing. Not sure what's next.
Pat, if you were to get a check, you're behind me.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I got my lead investor still waiting
You got
on
the
for some
frozen
scraps.
hands or whatever that wax
Frozen
hands.
Dad, put your hand in this ice. Let's see how we freeze it up here. Sorry about that.
Police in Wayne County, Pennsylvania are seeking information about 2 people caught on a video in a Walmart. They allegedly stole a woman's credit card and then scurried away on scooters.
There you go.
I wish you could see the picture. I know it's radio, but
I did see
it's
it.
exactly what you'd expect.
Yep.
What was about $3, Joe, right?
Yeah, there's some big guys. The big people.
Guy was also big.
Yeah.
So they didn't run very fast.
Well, no, they were on
they're
scooters.
on scooters.
Oh,
see, that was
okay.
that was the bit there.
Yep.
Right? Brooke, see.
Rolling.
Pennsylvania State Police have released store surveillance images of the pair pictured on their electric scooters at the Walmart. Local TV station reports the 2 took a woman's credit cards and some cash after she lost her purse in the Honesdale Walmart on January 4th. They did use the credit card to make several purchases, including at another Walmart, where more surveillance images were captured. An image of the pair's car, a Subaru station wagon, also captured when they used the credit card at a gas station to get gas. Anyone with info there is asked to call the state police.
I've been to Hawaii 7 or 8 times, and the ocean's beautiful, and the islands, and the rocks, and the waterfalls. But the most amazing sight in Hawaii is the 350-pound Samoan guys riding on those little tiny scooters. There's an endless number of these guys, and they got these little tiny scooters that weigh less than they do. It's amazing.
Are those wheels working a little overtime? They're pressed to the lava.
Endless
Pressed to the
guys.
lava.
Yeah, it's all lava down there. It's all lava.
A plane passenger was arrested after trying to board a plane while wearing an excessive amount of clothing. The fella was planning to travel from Iceland to England last Wednesday when he realized all his clothes wouldn't fit into his checked luggage.
Sure, he didn't want to pay an extra bag, man.
That's right. So to get around the luggage allowance rules, Ryan Carney Williams put on 8 pairs of pants and 10 shirts. Ryan says he was denied a boarding pass after he did not meet the baggage allowance criteria. In a tweet, he claimed the refusal was, he blamed it, of course, on racial profiling, and it's not clear why he did that, according to authorities. It's reported he refused to leave the check-in desk, and staff had to call a security guard over. Ryan posted a video to his Twitter page slamming the airline. He wrote, "I'm being..."
Did he look a little chubby? With the extra...
Yes.
What ethnicity?
He looked perhaps, I can't say for sure.
All right. Well, I mean, he claimed racial profile.
Yeah, I would
Might have
guess
been a white guy.
a mixed race fella, actually.
Okay.
He wrote,
Can I get a seat extender?
A cheap ass mixed race fella.
That's right. In a video he posted alongside, he's asking staff why he's not allowed to fly before being approached by 2 security guards. One of them says, "Do we need to call the police?" To which he replies, "Yeah, I haven't done anything wrong." In a later tweet, he claims he was arrested and maced, although police say that's not true. Finally, after he put up all his responses online, EasyJet responded saying they would refund his flight after a series of messages from him. And it's popping up all over East Dallas. Nobody knows why. It's markings, big, giant purple tacos all over the area.
We got a new taco firm coming to town, I would think.
Mysterious symbol appears. Well, it's actually it's graffiti. So somebody's tagging stores, fronts, garage doors, walls. Nobody knows what it means. Police say they have no idea who's responsible. They'd like anybody who has any idea what this all means to give them a call.
And they're drawing tacos. Okay.
They
good.
are. I saw a
Okay,
picture.
okay.
It's a purple
All right.
taco.
Oh,
Yep.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Means the Vikings are coming.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah, that's true.
I can't find it, Rook. You're going to have to take us to break.
Whether you're a sports fan or a sports fan, you're amongst friends here. 1500 ESPN.
Pat, I saw them on the news last night, and they had not previously been heard from. The Viking World Order.
Oh, yeah, I hadn't seen them lately.
Yeah.
No, I did a piece on them 5-6 years ago, but I bet they are celebrating, that's for sure.
They're very excited.
The Viking World Order, yes. I don't know. I've always wondered if I hadn't gotten into the sports journalism business, could have I ended up in the Viking World Order? You
Yes.
think that would have really been sad, wouldn't it?
Yeah. What do you got coming up?
Oh, we're action-packed. We got Britt Robson on the Timberwolves. We have Tim Yoder on the Vikings, and Chip Scoggins on all of the above and other matters. So we're action-packed here the next 2 hours.
Did the Vikings get yesterday off or today off?
Tuesday's the day off.
Tuesday's the day off.
And they don't change that even when they're going to the NFC title game. Also, one other thing, we will have the Barkley and Shaq audio at the top of the hour here about the fight. They thought it was rather humorous that the police were calling.
1500 ESPN is KSTP, St. Paul, Minneapolis.